Welcome. In today's video, it's a near-death experiences sent to us by a friend. As you listen, I encourage you to not just hear these stories, but to discern and trust the Holy Spirit to guide your understanding and judgments. I want to assure you that the stories shared here are presented exactly as they were sent to us, with no additions or alterations. My name is Benedicta, and I was born and raised in Ottawa, Kansas. Growing up in a small, tight-knit town where everyone knew each other, I felt a deep sense of community and support. My childhood was pretty average, filled with the typical joys and challenges of small-town life. I was fortunate to have two loving parents who were always supportive of me and encouraged me to pursue my dreams. In high school, I was a cheerleader. Being tall, I was always on the bottom base in stunts, providing strength and stability for my teammates. While cheerleading put me in the spotlight, my true passion lay elsewhere. I started modeling as a freshman and fell in love with it. Not because of the attention it brought, but because of the creative process. For me, modeling wasn't about saying, "Look at me," but about creating a scene, animating it, and bringing it to life. It was a form of expression that I was deeply passionate about. However, opportunities for modeling in Ottawa were limited. Kansas was far from being a major hub for the fashion industry. And although I managed to do some local work, I knew that if I wanted to pursue modeling seriously, I would eventually need to move to a bigger city. After high school, I went to Johnson County Community College. My decision to attend college was driven more by societal expectations than a clear personal ambition. Like many young adults, I felt the pressure to follow a conventional path, even though I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do with my life. I hoped that my time in college would help me figure out my future while still allowing me to pursue modeling opportunities on the side. It was during this time that my life took an unexpected turn. A classmate who worked at a strip bar introduced me to the world of exotic dancing, promising that it would be a way to make a lot of money. Driven by a mix of curiosity and the need for financial independence, I decided to give it a try. The strip bar was a stark contrast to my small-town upbringing. Initially, the stage performances seemed manageable. My background in modeling had made me comfortable with my body and being in the spotlight. However, the table dancing was another story. I was hesitant, but my friend insisted that it was necessary to make real money. Reluctantly, I agreed and soon found myself entrenched in this new world. For about a year, I worked at the strip bar. The money was good, and I rationalized that it was just a temporary situation until I could get my modeling career off the ground. Yet the job began to wear on me emotionally. I struggled with the judgments of others and the superficial relationships that formed around my job. Dating was particularly challenging, as many people only saw me for my job and not for who I was. It was a difficult and lonely time. One day, a businessman who frequented the bar offered me a proposition. He had to travel to Georgia for work and suggested that I accompany him for company. He promised that everything would be above board, separate hotel rooms, no funny business. Atlanta, he said, was becoming a hub for the modeling industry, and this trip could be an opportunity for me to meet with agencies and explore potential career prospects. Eager for a change and the chance to advance my modeling career, I agreed. I planned to join him on the trip right after Christmas. On Christmas Day, my family and I enjoyed our traditional celebrations. We woke up, saw the gifts Santa had left under the tree, and shared a special breakfast. My parents and brother then left to visit extended family in Chanute, a town about 2 hours away. I stayed behind, preparing for my trip to Georgia. I went upstairs to take a nap and woke up later than planned. Realizing I was running late, I hurriedly packed my bags. I threw everything into my car and sped through town, anxious about making it to the meeting point on time. As I drove down the highway, I remembered that I needed to let the businessman know I was on my way. This was in the days of big bag phones that plugged into the car's cigarette lighter. The phone was on the passenger side floorboard, so I took off my seatbelt, leaned over to pick it up and plugged it in. Just as I was about to make the call, I realized I was veering too close to another car. I swerved to avoid it, overcorrected, and lost control. My car nosedived into the median and flipped end over end across the highway. I was thrown about 40 feet from the car. I found myself enveloped in an incredibly bright white light. It was unlike anything I had ever seen or felt before, intense yet comforting, blinding yet soothing. As my eyes adjusted, I realized I was no longer in my broken body, but in a different realm entirely. The pain and chaos of the accident were gone, replaced by peace and love. Around me stood 6 tall, luminous beings. They radiated light and warmth, their presence comforting and familiar. They weren't human, but they felt like family. These beings exuded a love so pure and unconditional that it brought tears to my eyes. They looked at me with such compassion and understanding, and I felt a deep connection to them. The beings gently helped me sit up. It was then I realized I was looking at my own body lying in a hospital bed. I could see the machines beeping, the tubes, the doctors and nurses rushing around. My mother was there, holding my hand, her head bowed in prayer, or perhaps just resting on the edge of the bed in sheer exhaustion and worry. I could feel her pain, her fear, her desperation. It was overwhelming and heart-wrenching to witness her suffering. As I looked down from the corner of the room, the beings around me began to communicate, not with words, but with thoughts and feelings. They conveyed a sense of acceptance and love, telling me that I was not the sum of my mistakes or my past. I was a being of light and love, just like them. They showed me that the essence of who I am is pure and untainted, that all the judgments and negative beliefs I had about myself were false. They took me to another place, still within this realm of light. I found myself in a circle with 12 more luminous beings. They seemed to be in deep deliberation, discussing whether I should return to my earthly life or stay in this serene and beautiful place. I didn't feel like I had a say in the matter. It was as if my fate was being carefully weighed and considered. As they debated, they showed me my life, not in a series of events, but as a web of connections and influences. I saw how my actions affected others, how each person's light is interconnected. It was like looking at a city from above at night, each light representing a person, all connected by a vast, intricate network. They made me understand that my light, my existence, mattered in ways I couldn't have comprehended before. If my light went out, it would create ripples, affecting everyone around me. The love and warmth I felt in that place were overwhelming. The beings showed me that the pain and struggles of life are temporary and that they are all part of a bigger picture, a greater purpose. Suddenly, I felt a pull, a force drawing me back. The beings continued their silent debate, but I felt myself being gently but firmly nudged back toward my body. The last thing I remember is the overwhelming sense of love and acceptance, and the beings assuring me that I was loved, that I had a purpose. I woke up in the hospital room, my friend Patrick by my side. The transition was jarring. My mouth was wired shut, my body ached, and I felt disoriented. But I also felt an immense sense of peace and love, a lingering connection to the place I had just left. I couldn't speak, but the feelings from my near-death experience remained vivid and real. The doctors and nurses came in, and there was a flurry of activity around me. They checked my vitals, asked me to blink if I understood them, and explained that I had been in a coma for several weeks. They told me about the severity of my injuries and the surgeries I had undergone. My dad was the first person I tried to talk to about the circle of beings I had seen. With my limited ability to speak, I explained the experience as best I could. Being the rational engineer he was, he suggested that perhaps I had seen something on TV, like a courtroom scene, and that my brain had created this dreamlike memory. His words were said with love, but they shocked me. My experience had been so real, so vivid. It wasn't a dream, it was more real than anything I had ever known. I realized then that not everyone would understand or believe what I had experienced, so I held on to those memories tightly, sharing them sparingly. The physical recovery was something people could see and celebrate, but the spiritual and emotional journey was mine alone. Life after the coma was different. Everything seemed more vibrant, more precious. I had a new appreciation for the simple things, the feel of the grass under my feet, the warmth of the sun on my face, and the joy of being with loved ones. I knew I had been given a second chance, and I was determined to make the most of it, to live a life filled with love and purpose. If you have been blessed by this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others who might be interested, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss any stories sent to us. Your support helps us continue to bring you stories that encourage and uplift. Until next time, stay blessed and guided by the Holy Spirit.